Election delays, conspiracy or just incompetence? This week's big issue in the Bangkok Post. You can read it in the Sunday Bangkok Post print edition, the e-newspaper, or at bangkokpost.com. Today, Alan Dawson writes, is it more scary or less scary that the junta doesn't have an actual plan/conspiracy to keep itself in power, that it has extended its time and generous pay and perks without any design ever since the phantom 2015 election? Alan, before we look at the bigger picture, how plausible is the latest hold-up? Is it possible that a whole election could actually be voided by the Constitutional Court if someone challenges the rules that disabled people get assistance to vote, and politicians be disqualified if they've ever not voted in an election? Is that plausible?
Yes, it's plausible, not only at this point, but after an election, the actual election could be voided. You know, when you take an issue to a high court, like the Constitutional Court here, it's a bit of a crapshoot. You're never sure, never certain how the justices are going to go on any given issue. They're looking very deeply into the law. They're not really all that concerned about justice, and you never know. And maybe if you help somebody, a disabled person, to vote, maybe you did it in the wrong way, and it might be the whole constituency or maybe the whole election that could be voided over it, yes.
Okay, so what you're saying is the latest move by Mr. Gitisak is not necessarily part of a pattern, that problems that seem to arise spontaneously are actually planned beforehand as a means to prolong the general's stay in power. Is that right?
Well, the curious part is that the day before Mr. Gitisak decided that he would send the issue of the election to the Constitutional Court for review, the Prime Minister has said that he wasn't sure about it because maybe if he sent it to the Constitutional Court it would result in a delay of the election. And of course the Prime Minister himself has firmly promised an election by February 2019. So if the Constitutional Court does not like this organic law about the election, it could mean a whole rewrite of that law, in the worst possible case, a rewrite of the Constitution even.
Does the NCPO actually have much to gain by the delays? I mean, one school of thought says the new constitution has been written to reduce the possibility of any party getting a majority and governing effectively, and also to set the stage for a judicial coup by letting anyone petition the Constitutional Court if they think a minister has acted immorally. So if they've already rigged the game, why are they delaying the kickoff? Is it possible a crack has appeared in the plan?
Nothing certain in politics. It's not death or taxes, and you're never quite sure exactly what's going to happen. My own sources, Thai and foreign, agree that the NCPO has power pretty well locked up after any election with its constitution and new laws against protests, for example. But you're never sure you have all of the T's crossed and all of the I's dotted. And the longer the NCPO remains in power, the more chance they have of remembering, oh, that little detail, we better cover that one too.
Speaking of protests, what are the ways that General Prayut could be pressured to relinquish power? Are street protests the most effective means? Could it be pressure from political parties or diplomatic pressure from other countries?
At this point, the main opposition to General Prayut is, of course, democratic and through freedom of speech. In Thailand, there's always the possibility that the population will turn against you, as it did in 1992 in particular, in 1973 also in particular, when there were very, very nasty and violent oppositions that overthrew the government. So the Prime Minister has to bear a lot of things in mind. The chance that he will be overthrown by a Democratic vote at the moment are slim to none, but politics change, and you never know what allies today will turn out to be your political enemies tomorrow.
Indeed. Alan Dawson, Big Issue columnist, thanks for joining us. You can read his column in the Sunday Bangkok Post print edition, the e-newspaper, or at bangkokpost.com. What do you think? Leave your comments below or on the bangkokpost.com website. And join us again soon for another Big Issue in the Bangkok Post. I'm Dave Kendall. Have a great week.